My aunt was abducted, and they specifically demanded Jiang Yuzhou personally ransom her. Yet he lingered by the side of his wounded white moonlight, refusing to show himself. I feigned terror, watching helplessly as my aunt, ignored by Jiang Yuzhou, lost her virtue and had her beauty utterly ruined. All because in my past life, I threatened to die to force Jiang Yuzhou away, preserving my aunt's purity, yet I never received a single kind word. Jiang Yuzhou blamed me for disrupting his beloved's leg treatment, leaving her crippled and driving her to jump into the river. Consumed by rage, he buried me alive at her grave. My sister said no one begged you to save her. You couldn't bear seeing me care for a Jean, so you viciously forced her to her death. I'll make you pay in blood for blood. My hatred made me spit blood. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned. This time, since they insist on courting death, I'll make sure they die wretchedly. Since you specifically demanded Jiang Yuzhou bring money for the ransom, me.Reborn, hurry and send someone to call him back to save his sister. If Meng Yao suffers any harm, I'll take my own life. Only when Jiang's mother's wails smashed against my face did I realize I had been reborn. Reborn on the very day Jiang Meng Yao was abducted by bandits. On this day in my past life, I too had lost my composure upon hearing the news of her abduction and Jiang's mother's wails. In my panic, I sent 3 men to fetch Jiang Yuzhou, who was accompanying Yi Jin. But it only earned me Jiang Yuzhou's contempt and scorn. Meng Yuehua's jealous lies stem from her inability to tolerate my presence beside A Jin. She's merely fabricating despicable excuses. Knowing full well that A Jin needed my presence for his treatment, she deliberately sent people to repeatedly demand I leave. Such a venomous heart. Utterly devoid of compassion, she scarcely deserves to be called human. The messengers he sent were cursed out and driven away. My mother-in-law, consumed by panic, knew full well that Jiang Yuzhou had publicly humiliated me, ruining my reputation, yet she threatened suicide to force me to go to the Yi family myself. The servants blocked me at the gate, refusing me any audience with Jiang Yuzhou. In desperation, I declared I would kill myself at the Yi family's gate, forcing Jiang Yuzhou and Yi Jin to bear the eternal shame of driving their first wife to death. Only then did Jiang Yuzhou agree to rescue the patient with me. Jiang Meng Yao returned unharmed, but Yi Jin, her treatment interrupted, was left permanently crippled in both legs. Jiang's mother shifted all blame onto me. When the Yi family demanded accountability, she berated me for dancing before Yi Jin and disrupting her treatment. She punished me by making me kneel in the ancestral hall for Yi Jin's recovery and copy 100 books to atone for my sins. Even Jiang Meng Yao, whom I had saved, berated me for making a mountain out of a molehill, claiming I had ruined her sister Jeannie's life. Yi Jin, devastated by her inability to walk, uttered, "Me.Reborn, are you satisfied now?" before plunging into the icy river. When everyone rushed to the scene, only her wheelchair remained by the riverbank, along with a suicide note accusing me. Though her body was never found, everyone believed Yi Jin, now paralyzed from the waist down, had perished in the raging river. Jiang Yuzhou directed all his hatred toward me. He stormed into the ancestral hall, shackled me, and dragged me to the dungeon. There, he cut out my tongue and severed my legs, venting his fury. Despite my desperate pleas and desperate attempts to explain, he refused to listen to a single word, refusing to believe a single sentence. Jiang Yuzhou was blinded by rage, while the Jiang family stood by coldly, pouring fuel on the fire. She's just a merchant's daughter, unworthy of my son, a noble and refined gentleman. Now she's taken Yi Jin's life, leaving you, Brother Zhou, with lifelong regret. She truly deserves to die. Brother, be cautious, leave no incriminating evidence. A mere orphaned girl? Her death is no great loss. Jiang Yuzhou's resolve to kill me only hardened. His eyes grew icy, piercing my soul with a chilling stare. See? Everyone believes you deserve death. Then go, atone for your sins to A Jin. With the Jiang family united in their efforts, on the 7th day after Yi Jin's death, I was buried alive in a humiliating kneeling position opposite her symbolic grave. Jiang Yuzhou even placed a soul-binding lock upon me, declaring, "Everyone could have saved Meng Yao. Why did you force me to intervene? Ajin died by your vile hand. Now descend to the underworld to atone for her death by serving as her beast of burden. I curse you to eternal damnation, never to find peace." Yet barely a month after my death, Yi Jin returned, claiming divine intervention had healed her legs through a reclusive master's cure. Tears streaming, she married Jiang Yuzhou. My family spent my dowry, living out their days in blissful harmony. No one remembered the wrongfully dead soul buried in that lonely grave beyond the city walls. Who would have thought I'd ever return? Smash! Hurry up! Have you lost your mind? Madame Zhang's commanding voice snapped me back to reality as she hurled a teacup at my feet, splashing my robes. But this time, it's her son courting death, and her precious daughter who'll pay the price. What does it have to do with me? Thus, feigning urgency, I dispatched the steward to summon Jiang Yuzhou, but deliberately instructed, mention only urgent matters at the estate. Under no circumstances must anyone learn of the young mistress's abduction by bandits. After all, if Jiang Yuzhou mistakenly believed I summoned him out of jealousy, he would never return. And if he didn't come, Jiang Mingyao would be left with only one path to take. Zhang's mother, who cherished her daughter above all, was about to explode. I quickly added before her anger erupted. A woman's reputation is paramount. We must not only save Meng Yao, but also protect her name and future. Exactly. We must save her, but her reputation must remain intact. Jian, Jiang Mingyao's fiancé and the maternal nephew of Zhang's mother, was summoned by me. Jian merely glanced at me before tugging at Zhang's mother's sleeve. Aunt, our Ji family of linen is a prominent household. Should we have a mistress of ill repute, the entire clan would be disgraced. Zhang's mother was momentarily silenced, unable to refute. A woman's reputation outweighs her life. No matter how desperate she was, she couldn't risk destroying Jiang Mingyao's reputation and future, especially with Jiang Mingyao's fiancée present. Even if his disgraced cousin were the most virtuous woman, Jian would never accept her for the sake of his family's honor. Mrs. Jiang could only grit her teeth and nod to the steward. Just as he was about to leave, she called him back and pressed the glass Buddha beads she never parted with into his hands. Tell him this old woman has fallen ill. Seeing this, Aizhou will surely rush back at once. It must be said, Mrs. Jiang thought this through meticulously, using her own health and filial piety to coerce Jiang Yuzhou. In her heart, she believed she remained the most important person to Jiang Yuzhou. But this time, he faced Yi Jin, his eternal moonlight, not me, who had no leverage. The mother he revered most, and the lover cherished above all else. I was quite curious to see who would prevail. Half an incense stick later, the steward who'd rushed off in such haste returned, his forehead smeared with blood. As I'd expected, just like in my past life, the steward came back alone. Seeing Jiang Yuzhou wasn't behind him, Mother Jiang suddenly stood up. I pretended to offer her support, but she brushed me away with disgust. Get out of my way. You're bad luck. She then demanded of the steward in a loud voice. Where is Aizhou? I suppressed a cold smile as I watched the steward tremble while apologizing. The Marquis refuses to return. Madame Jiang gasped. Incredulous. Did you not relay my illness? How could Aizhou neglect my condition? The steward, desperate yet meek, replied. This servant not only conveyed the lady's exact words, but when the Marquis remained unmoved, I stated the lady had already fallen unconscious. I implored him to return immediately to decide. But the Marquis said, when I was at the manor, nothing was amiss. I was merely away for half a day, and the old lady fell ill. Must I be chained to the manor's belt before you'll relent? He also said, if she's ill, call the imperial physician. I know nothing of medicine, nor how to brew potions. Why summon me back? To serve as a sea-calming needle? How insolent! Madame Jiang turned pale with fury. Yet I silently applauded Jiang Yuzhou. Such conduct remained true to his usual bearing. For the sake of his beloved Yi Jin, he usually spoke to me with such sharpness and severity, as if he wanted to tear out 2 ounces of my heart. Now, all that fury had been directed at his mother instead. But the most infuriating part was yet to come. Amidst Lady Zhang's furious trembling, the butler hurriedly knelt to explain. Please calm your anger, madam. It's not that the Marquis is unfilial, but Miss Yi has been quite persistent. When his lordship saw the lady's Buddhist rosary, he intended to speak privately with this old servant. But the Yi family's daughter called him back. Pale-faced and tearful, she declared she shouldn't be a burden to his lordship, nor a thorn in the lady's side. She insisted that a few dozen silver needles piercing her back were nothing she couldn't endure. His lordship should return to the mansion, apologize to the lady, and soothe her anger. Even as this old servant repeatedly insisted there was urgent business at the Marquis's residence, that the old lady had sent him to fetch the Marquis, she still clung to his sleeve. She was convinced the lady was merely jealous and that the old lady was playing along with her. Staging this entire scene, the Marquis flew into a rage, hurling the old lady's Buddhist rosary into the old servant's face. The beads scattered across the floor. Heartbroken to see the old lady's cherished possessions so desecrated, the old servant bent to gather them one by one, only to be shoved out by the Marquis. The Marquis said. The Marquis said. Speak! Madame Jiang slammed her hand on the tea table so hard it shook the room. The old steward dared not hesitate any longer. The Marquis said the old lady has grown senile, aiding and abetting the wicked like a tiger's accomplice. What sutras does she recite now? Don't defile the Buddha's eyes. Once again, I must applaud Jiang Yuzhou loudly. These words, each one a dagger to the heart, were meant to crush me utterly. Yet unbeknownst to him, the one who summoned him back to the estate was none other than his most revered mother. And those prayer beads were indeed her mother's most treasured possession, held daily in her hands like the apple of her eye. Madame Jiang, overcome with both urgency and fury, gasped for breath. Her face drained of color as she clutched her chest and fainted. Her favorite refrain had always been, if you were half as considerate and sensible as Jean, Zhou wouldn't refuse to return home. Yet when Yi Jin's thoughtfulness fell upon her, how could she faint? Everyone scrambled in a flurry of activity, but only I, though my face showed anxiety, felt immense satisfaction within. In my past life, whenever I suffered defeat at Yi Jin's hands, the Jiang family would scold me for failing to keep Jiang Yuzhou's heart, declaring I deserved to be his defeated opponent. So it turns out, compared to Yi Jin, Zhang's mother is no better. One move, and she became Yi Jin's defeated opponent. The taste of defeat is truly bitter. It knocked the formidable Jiang mother to the ground in an instant. Seems the fragile Jiang mother isn't as tough as my thick skin. She probably wouldn't last 3 rounds against Yijin.to eliminate future threats. I personally laced the medicinal broth I fed her with herbs that accelerated blood surges. She always claimed I'd drive her to her death someday. Well, let's see how she fares if her own son does just that. Has Zhou returned? Was Mengyao rescued? Half an hour later, Mother Jiang awoke, her breath faint as a thread, yet still thinking of her children. I shook my head regretfully, stabbing her chest with knives of sorrow. The Marquis refuses to return. 3 groups sent to fetch him were all driven away. Now the Yi family gates are tightly shut. Even the servants can't see him. He said. If you're not dead, don't bother me. Mother Jiang gasped again. I held back a smile and feigned reassurance. Fortunately, my cousin is deeply loyal. To save Mengyao, he personally went to the Yi family. He'll insist on bringing the Marquis back to rescue her. Hearing this, Mother Jiang exhaled in relief, her face pale as she slowly lay back on the bed. With that, I felt at ease, yet she shot me a fierce glare. Everyone is working tirelessly for Mengyao, but you're holed up in your courtyard avoiding work. Not a trace of urgency to be seen. Just as she was about to lecture me further, the attendant by her side quietly tugged her sleeve and whispered in her ear, the silver for Miss Shu's ransom came entirely from the madam. The old lady should hold her tongue. Learning that I had paid the ransom and her own nephew was actively involved, she felt her position was secure. Her expression softened slightly. Looking considerably more at ease, she ordered a refreshing ginseng broth. The blood-stirring medicine paired with the highly nourishing ginseng broth. It wasn't that I wanted her dead, but with her heart condition, she was courting disaster. Half an incense stick later, The steward rushed in, his face ashen. Seeing the old lady looking so unwell, he dared not speak. Bad news. Of course. Had to be delivered right to Madame Zhang's face. I quickly rose and asked, "Is there something you need to say? Uncle Jiang? Why are you so pale?" Madame Zhang's heart leapt to her throat. She craned her neck and shouted, "Just spit it out. Are you trying to kill me with your hesitation?" The steward exhaled heavily and declared loudly, "Young Master Jiang failed to bring back the marquis and was beaten bloody by the Yi family servants." Madame Zhang's pupils dilated in shock. "What? But that wasn't the worst of it." I pressed urgently. "What's the current situation?" The steward bowed his head and spilled everything like beans spilling from a sack. Jian was beaten bloody and flew into a rage. He bellowed across the courtyard. "Your sister was snatched by bandits. Your mother fainted from grief. And your wife is running herself ragged tending to everything. Yet here you are, hiding away in the concubine's quarters, preoccupied with your romantic escapades. You are unworthy of being a husband, unworthy of being a brother, unworthy of being a son." The Marquis flew into a rage, charging out to strike the young master, yet ultimately refrained from doing so before the assembled crowd. Just as Lady Jiang exhaled in relief, the steward delivered another crushing blow. "But the Marquis has summoned the authorities." At these words, Lady Jiang's face twitched violently, and she instantly coughed up a mouthful of blood. For Jiang Mengyao was finished. Abducted by bandits, even if her virtue remained intact, her reputation would be forever tarnished. In my past life, even when I threatened to die, I never revealed the truth about Jiang Mingyao's abduction. In the end, she preserved her reputation, yet I, consumed by jealousy, stormed the Yi family estate and coerced the Marquis, leaving me branded with the shame of harming Yi Jin. The world's scorn never ceased. Afterward, Jiang Mengyao scolded me. "I never begged you to save me, your own wicked thoughts brought you to this, deserving to lose your legs and tongue this lifetime. Without my overreaction, surely she, Jiang Mengyao, would reap what she sowed." Zhang's mother lay with eyes tightly shut, her breaths like drumbeats. Yet I knew she could still hear, thus I hastened to deliver one more blow to her broken body. "Where is the Marquis?" Upon learning of his sister's peril, he would surely rush to her rescue, wouldn't he? Then she might be saved. The steward shook his head in disappointment. The Marquis didn't believe a single word of Miss Ye's tears. He said that if the bandits weren't found, Magistrate Yu would have Master Yu beaten 50 times for disturbing the peace. Now, Master Yu has left the city with Magistrate Yu, carrying 5,000 taels of silver, heading straight for Yandang Cliff. As for the Marquis, he remains by Miss Ye's side, promising to bring the lowly slut who stirred up trouble in the mansion tomorrow to apologize. I suppressed the satisfaction flickering in my eyes, glancing sideways to see Zhang's mother, the one branded a lowly wretch, clutching the brocade quilt so tightly her hands shook like sieves. I asked this what unbearable agony feels like. Little did she know, an entire hour had passed since Jiang Mengyao was abducted. At this very moment in my past life, Jiang Yuzhou and I had already reached the base of Yandang Cliff. Jiang Mengyao had just been stripped by the bandits, though her virtue remained intact, and because I had kept the news tightly sealed, her reputation remained unblemished. But this time it would take Jian at least another half-hour to reach Yandang Cliff. By then, the horrifying state of Jiang Mengyao would be for the Jiang family to bear alone. In this life, let Yi Jin, who schemes relentlessly to destroy me, suffer Jiang Mingyao's ruin, Zhang's mother's unbearable grief, and Jiang Yuzhou's bitter regret. True to form, the Jiang family's collateral branch arrived at the Jiang residence overnight upon hearing of Jiang Mingyao's misfortune. Seeing this frail woman alone holding up the Marquis's household inside and out, they felt both sympathy and heartache. Yet they still pressed me for the truth. Was Mengyao truly abducted by bandits? Adopting a helpless expression, as if concealment was futile, I forced out a few tears and nodded. It's all my fault. I couldn't summon the Marquis back, nor save my sister. Reluctantly, I took 5,000 taels from my dowry and sent my cousin to negotiate her release. Everyone knew of the entanglement between Jiang Yuzhou and Yi Jin. Even after Yi Jin was beaten by her husband, her body broken, and a divorce letter tossed back to the capital, she remained the Marquis's most cherished person. Whenever Yi Jin felt the slightest discomfort, Jiang Yuzhou would rush to her side without hesitation. As for me, an orphaned girl with no backing, I was branded by the Jiang family as a jealous wife, long since a laughingstock throughout the capital. Seeing that though my reputation was ruined by the Jiangs, I didn't kick them when they were down. Instead, I showed compassion and loyalty by using my dowry to redeem my arrogant younger sister-in-law. This earned me a newfound respect from many, especially when compared to Jiang Yuzhou, who prioritized romantic entanglements over his own sister's life and death. I appeared all the more sensible and considerate. Third aunt began to resolve my troubles. Never mind. However foolish Jiang Yuzhou may be, he could never abandon his gravely ill mother. I shall send someone to summon him back to the manor. If even Zhang's mother couldn't call him back, who else could? It would only annoy Jiang Yuzhou. Yet I feigned reluctance, opening my mouth as if to protest, but ultimately acquiesced with a resigned expression. By midnight, the maid sent by third aunt and the steward dispatched by my eldest uncle had both been turned away. Only then did my eldest uncle turn crimson with rage, cursing Jiang Yuzhou as an unfilial son unworthy of leading the Jiang household. Auntie sighed in disappointment. Had I known his true nature, I never would have recommended him to His Majesty for the hereditary title. Yet my eldest uncle, the one who had relinquished his own title, remained silent. Seeing Jiang Yuzhou rapidly losing the trust of the Jiang family, I grew as frantic as an ant on a hot skillet. While soothing the elders, I dispatched the steward once more to summon Jiang Yuzhou, delivering a fatal blow to his standing before the family elders. Informed the Marquis that his eldest uncle, third uncle, and third aunt have all arrived. He must return to the estate immediately. As expected, Uncle Jiang managed to enter the Yi residence through the old butler's connections. But Jiang Yuzhou, thoroughly exasperated, viciously beat Uncle Jiang and tossed him back to the Jiang family. Uncle Jiang had served 3 generations of the Jiang family, working diligently his entire life without a single lapse in devotion. Now, past 50, subjected to such humiliation, he wept uncontrollably. His aged face hid beneath the stretcher, refusing to lift. The young servant who accompanied him had bloodshot eyes, brimming with grievance. He nearly cried as he declared to the crowd, "The Marquis says he won't return today. Who can force him to?" The Marquis also said that if the old lady breaks even a single finger, he'll have the lady sever her hand in return. The crowd gasped in shock. I feigned a look of both horror and pain, nearly collapsing to the ground. I played the part of the pitiful victim, constantly bullied by Jiang Yuzhou, to perfection. Wretched creature. Utterly wretched. How could someone so blind to right and wrong ever uphold the honor of the Marquis' household? Uncle Jiang slammed his teacup down, trembling with rage. Aunt Jiang, the third wife, steadied my swaying form and offered comfort. "Fear not. I shall see justice done for you." I pressed a handkerchief to my mouth, weeping bitterly with feigned anguish. Yet in an unseen corner, a cold smile touched my lips. The plan to ruin Jiang Yuzhou's reputation was finally half accomplished. The other half rested upon Jiang Mengyao. She surely wouldn't disappoint me. Would she? My father died in the uprising. Clan members played favorites, leaving me without a single supporter. I toiled tirelessly within the home mansion. Yet even my dowry was swallowed whole. In the end, blinded by Jiang Yuzhou's indifference, everyone followed suit. Ingratitude and kicking a woman when she's down, they left me, a mere orphaned girl, to die alone in the wilderness, forgotten by all. Now, I shall make Jiang Yuzhou taste the same bitter isolation and utter helplessness. I will make the Jiang family repay me with every ounce of wealth, honor, and life they've taken from me. The old lady has regained consciousness. The imperial physician brought by my eldest uncle wiped sweat from his brow and uttered those words. Everyone exhaled a collective sigh of relief. But before joy could take hold, Jian rushed back to the estate, clutching a blood-soaked body. Save her! Quick! Quickly summon the physician to save Meng Yao. The brutal bandits had repeatedly abused Jiang Meng Yao, culminating in snapping 3 of her ribs and scarring the face she once cherished. A noble lady. Trampled into the mud, her life was ruined beyond redemption. Now, bloodied and unconscious, Jiang Meng Yao had no idea what fate awaited her when she awoke. Jiang's mother staggered out, only to see her beloved daughter in this state. As if struck by lightning, she collapsed straight to the ground. I tossed the heart-saving pills from my sleeve into the black dog's bowl in the courtyard. Only after watching it swallow them whole did I smile. Dimples appearing. Pills bought with a fortune should save only those with hearts. Those with hearts of wolves and livers of dogs deserve to die without a burial place. Amidst the chaos, I held Zhang's mother's hand. Her breaths came in gasps. More in than out. I wailed and rushed to deliver the fatal blow. Mother, you must hold on. Your daughter still needs you to plan her future. She's ruined her virtue and beauty. How will she ever find her place? I couldn't bear to see her hanged in a 3-foot white silk noose, nor sent to live out her days on the farm. Mother, you must save my sister. My words cut like knives. Within moments, Mother Zhang's eyes rolled back as she drew her last breath. Her personal nurse suddenly wailed. The old lady. She's gone. I was the first to throw myself upon Mother Jiang, burying my face in her chest, laughing uncontrollably. The Jiang household was engulfed in wails. I too was swept into uncontrollable sobs. I wept for myself, finally reclaiming everything she owed me. I wept for my swift and decisive action, striking down the first heartless traitor. It was she who sought my hand in marriage, owing me a debt of life. It was she who turned her back on me after father's death. Even in my past life, it was she who orchestrated Jiang Yuzhou's brutal attack to seize my vast fortune. Her health was frail, and every nourishing broth was personally brewed and fed to her by my own hands. I poured my heart into caring for her, yet never won a shred of her affection. Today, Jiang Mengyao seized my robes in invitation to the Qingyun Mountain blessing ceremony, declaring my thin fortune unworthy of the Bodhisattva's presence. After confining me, she claimed everything rightfully mine. Alas, misfortune and blessing are intertwined. Jiang Mengyao took my place as the wrongfully slain victim beneath Yi Jin's blade. As Mother Jiang drew her last breath, I whispered one final question into her ear. Why? Mother, did you insist my sister attend the Buddhist rites, condemning her to this calamity? The moment she understood Jiang Mengyao had shielded me from disaster, her blood surged and she died instantly. The matriarch of the Jiang family's second branch passed away, notified the great noble houses in the capital to summon the Jiang sons to observe mourning rites. My eldest uncle, eyes red-rimmed, gave his orders. And the Marquis? An unworthy scion, unfit to mourn for Lady Jiangji. The eldest son of the third branch shall take his place. Thus, the eldest son of Uncle San's household replaced Jiang Yuzhou as the future head of the Jiang family. I feigned utter terror, shivering visibly, yet unseen by anyone. I secretly rejoiced that Jiang Yuzhou would finally lose everything the Jiang family had given him. The entire night passed without Jiang Yuzhou returning. The Jiang residence was shrouded in mourning robes. Even distant relatives from outside the city donned hemp garments and knelt before the spirit hall, receiving condolences from all directions. Yet as the biological son of Lady Jiang, Jiang Yuzhou remained conspicuously absent. By late morning, Jiang Mengyao finally awoke. Before she could even begin her wailing, she received the devastating news of her mother's death. Though Jian was there to comfort her, she rushed headlong to the funeral hall regardless. Mother! Mother! Why won't you answer Mengyao? Mother! Did I disgrace you? That you abandoned me? Her face twisted in anguish. She wept hysterically. I knew the time had come to draw my sword. Hurrying forward to comfort her, I said, "Do not blame your elder brother. Your sister Jean is unwell and needs care. Given their childhood friendship, it is only right he tends to her. If blame must be placed, it lies with those lawless bandits who defied the law so brazenly, but they've been captured by Magistrate Yu and will soon face the death penalty. Restoring justice for my sister. Jiang Mingyao stared at me in stunned disbelief. So you're saying my brother was with Yi Jin last night? The Jiang family members, who had been seething with resentment toward Jiang Yuzhou, now began to vent their anger at him in a cacophony of voices. If he had only come back, your mother wouldn't have been driven to her death by grief. Even grandfather Jiang was beaten and thrown back to the mansion with a broken head. What does he care about? He only cares about that fox-like temptress. A few words of provocation from others, and he cursed his own mother for offending the Buddha's eyes, driving her to faint from the shock. Jian spoke up then, his gaze fierce as he gritted his teeth. I begged him. Yet he still refused to believe me. He thought sending Lord Yu to accompany me had nothing to do with saving you. He was just waiting for me to be flogged 50 times for obstructing official duties. Only now do I realize how utterly absurd my cousin truly is. Mingyao, he is unworthy to be your elder brother. Jiang Mingyao staggered, her eyes brimming with a torrent of hatred. So the sacrificial pawn in that bandit's ultimatum wasn't him abandoning me to save his gravely ill mother. He abandoned both me and my mother for that vixen. Jiang Yuzhou, Yi Jin, may you both rot in hell. Jiang Mingyao's eyes bulged with fury. Just then, Jiang Yuzhou's furious roar echoed. Minghua, have you lost your mind? Covering our Jiang family in white mourning robes, are you cursing mother or cursing this marquis? Hearing Jiang Yuzhou's all too familiar voice, my hands trembled uncontrollably beneath my sleeves. The next moment, Jiang Yuzhou strode forward, clad in black robes and his face twisted with fury. Beside him Yi Jin sat in a wheelchair, her white robes accentuating her fragile appearance. Before I could speak, Jiang Yuzhou's icy slap struck my face. You dared set up a memorial altar for mother? To curse her thus, what a venomous heart you possess. The female relatives surrounded me, glaring furiously at Jiang Yuzhou. You choosing to spend moonlit nights with a vile creature, disgracing our family honor, that is your affair. But if you intend to bring shame upon the Jiang household, leave this place now. The Jiang family has no place for such a shameless, unworthy scion. Jiang Yuzhou hadn't expected the first and third branches, who rarely interacted with the second branch, to defend me. He sneered coldly. The Meng family's daughters aren't short of silver. They've always been adept at buying loyalty with money. I never imagined my first aunt and third aunt would be so easily swayed by gold, conspiring with them to stage this charade cursing our mother. I wonder if the first and third branches could withstand the same accusations leveled against my first uncle and third uncle. What hope remains for the futures and marriages of my younger siblings? Jiang Yuzhou's words carried a threat, ultimately provoking the collective anger. My first aunt roared furiously. Get out! You have no right to enter the Jiang household. Your mother doesn't need a son like you to haunt her in death. Third aunt chimed in. Your mother lies in that coffin inside. If you don't believe it, go see for yourself. Did you think everyone was as heartless and ungrateful as you? Jiang Yuzhou's expression froze. Just as he stepped forward, Yi Jin called out. Aunt Jiang went to Wugu Temple today to worship the Buddha. It was a long-planned date. How could she be at home? With that, she rolled her wheelchair toward me, her eyes full of inquiry. Sister Yuehua, I know you misunderstood me and Aizhou. That's why I deliberately came to apologize despite my illness. It's also my fault for being so weak, I couldn't endure the agony of 81 needles. So I needed Aizhou to stay by my side and encourage me. Now that I'm recovering, I'm willing to make amends. Could you, for the sake of my sincerity, forgive Aizhou this once and end this farce? Her eyes brimmed with tears as she pleaded pitifully. Seeing me surrounded by the crowd, I didn't even want to respond to her. She deliberately turned and tugged at Jiang Yuzhou's sleeve, acting affectionate, as if she were his wife. Ah, Zhou, hurry up and apologize to Sister Yuehua. Come on. Don't be angry. Making such a scene will just make us the laughingstock of the capital. As she spoke, she shot me a deliberately provocative glance out of the corner of her eye. In the past, I would have lunged at her, slapped her twice, and screamed at her for shamelessly seducing a married man. Then the entire Jiang family would have jumped in to scold and punish me. Jiang Yuzhou would have wrapped Yi Jin in his arms with pity and tenderness, escorting her back to the Yi family to comfort her for the rest of the day. As for me, I'd be left to sit in the ancestral hall, copying texts until my hands bled, denied even a single hot meal. But I've been reborn. I care nothing for Jiang Yuzhou's affection. And I know Yi Jin is merely a grasshopper before autumn, she won't last long. So I ignore her provocation. It was my eldest aunt and third aunt who saw through her pretentious, concubine-like posturing completely. Filled with indignation, they stood up for me. What face could a discarded wife, sent back to her natal family, possibly care about? Would a woman who cares about her dignity allow a man to come and go as he pleases, spending the night in her boudoir? A cripple, even treating her as a mistress is too generous. Yet she dares to dream of entering the main hall? How utterly disgraceful. Jiang Yuzhou was about to erupt again when Yi Jin tugged at his sleeve. Don't be angry, Zhou. Sister Yuehua has grievances against me. It doesn't matter to me. Once she vents her anger, she won't cause trouble for you anymore. I forgive their hostility. Will you join me in forgiving them, Zhou? Jiang Yuzhou's face remained icy, softening only when his gaze fell upon Yi Jin. You're the most kind-hearted. You forgive anyone. If Meng Yuehua possessed half your sense, she wouldn't have ended up in such a predicament. Very well. For your sake, I shan't hold it against her. But to dare curse our mother is the height of disobedience. If I fail to teach her a lesson today, I'd betray all the love and guidance mother has given me these years. Jiang Yuzhou missed the sneers and disdain on the others' faces. His gaze fixed solely on Yi Jin with adoring affection. Yi Jin flushed with a coy smile, then turned to call out to me. Sister Yuehua, even Zhou is willing to humble himself. Do you see your mistake? Jiang Yuzhou shot me a cold, dismissive glance and impatiently ordered. Kneel and apologize. We'll forgive you this once. The crowd seethed with rage, ready to erupt in curses. But I patted my aunt's hand soothingly before stepping slowly toward Yi Jin. As she waited for my apology, her eyes gleaming with triumph, I delivered 2 sharp slaps across her face, then kicked her wheelchair hard. Ah! Yi Jin screamed in terror, 5 vivid red fingerprints instantly appearing on her face. With all my strength, I sent her tumbling from the wheelchair onto the floor. Jiang Yuzhou frantically scooped her up, facing Yi Jin's pitifully tear-streaked, blood-smeared face. He glared at me, grinding his teeth. Meng Yuehua, have you lost your mind? His eyes blazed with fury as he raised his hand to strike me. But I was quicker. 2 swift slaps landed on his face. He stared at me in shock, his hand frozen midair. You hit me? Unholy and unfilial. Childless to boot, I divorce you today. I stared straight at him, my voice thick with seething hatred. You don't need to divorce me. I've already filed for separation. The Jiang elders will decide my fate. You, who care only for love and pleasure, who disregard your sister's safety and your mother's life, whose eyes see only passion and that heartless, ungrateful woman, it is I, Meng Yuehua, who reject you. Jiang Yuzhou's rage ignited instantly. He roared. Cursing our mother wasn't enough, now you drag my sister into this? What other lies will you spin? Did Jiang Mengyao truly fall into bandits' hands? Clang! Yi Jin, who had just settled into her wheelchair, nearly toppled over, her face frozen in terror. Oh, so the instigator can feel fear after all. But wasn't all this part of her scheme to begin with? Meeting Yi Jin's horrified expression, I curved my lips into a grim smile and replied coldly. Why such terror? Miss Yi? You likely don't know this. But while Jiang Yuzhou stayed out all night with you and beat 7 groups of subordinates, his own sister was abducted by ruthless bandits and subjected to inhuman torture. Now her purity is lost, her beauty utterly ruined. The Jiang family will pursue the mastermind behind this to the bitter end. Yi Jin's body visibly trembled. Her pale, bloodless face lowered, unable to meet anyone's gaze. Such unnatural behavior was noticed by all present. Only Jiang Yuzhou took her trembling hand in his, soothing her softly. I know Meng Yuehua's tricks best. She knows she can't deceive us with mother's death anymore. So she's using Meng Yao's reputation to torment us. Meng Yao will be fine. You needn't feel so guilty. Once I call Meng Yao out, she'll be publicly humiliated. Even if she kneels to apologize to me then, I will still divorce her. Was the Marquis seeking me? Jiang Mengyao emerged from behind, her face a tapestry of wounds. Horrific knife scars crawled across her once beautiful features like centipedes. Long hair fell in disarray, her eyes haunted by crisscrossing scars, a terrifying specter. Like a demon crawling from hell, she approached step by step, her chilling smile making each stride feel like a stomp on Jiang Yuzhou's heart. My dear elder brother, when you embraced your beloved beauty, did you ever think of your own flesh and blood sister? Trembling in fear under the torment of villains, waiting for your rescue? When you rekindled your romance beneath the moonlit flowers, did you recall how your sister revered you from childhood, treating you as her sole master? Two clear tears rolled down her cheeks as Jiang Mengyao stared directly at Jiang Yuzhou. Frozen in place, Jiang Yuzhou's eyes were filled with disbelief. Mengyao, how could you join her in deceiving me? I know you wanted that jade-winged hairpin. Your elder brother promised you, this time it's for Sister Jean. But next time I'll find you an even finer one. Quickly wipe the makeup from your face. Such a terrifying sight frightens others and tarnishes your reputation. Jiang Yuzhou frantically reached out to wipe Jiang Mingyao's face, only to have his hand violently slapped away. Reputation? Wasn't it you who sent magistrate you with a massive force to hunt down bandits? When I was rescued naked from beneath that brutal bandit, dozens of officers saw my bare body. Do you think I have any reputation left? As she spoke, Jiang Mengyao tore open her collar, revealing a neck covered in crisscrossing bite marks. Now are you convinced I was victimized by those bandits? Then what about mother's death? Jiang Yuzhou staggered back upon seeing the wounds. Just as the truth was about to be exposed, Yi Jin, hiding behind him, suddenly burst into tears. Sister Yuehua, even if you wanted to call the Marquis away, you shouldn't use Sister Mingyao's safety as a pretext. Now that the charade has turned real, how can Mengyao ever live with herself? What a masterful reversal. Jiang Yuzhou's gaze, sharp enough to devour, instantly fixed on me. It was you? So it really was you. Unable to lure me back with mother's feigned illness. You resorted to blackmailing me with my sister's reputation. Now you've turned the charade into reality, utterly destroying her. Are you satisfied? With that, he charged recklessly into the memorial hall. Like a madman, he tore down the white banners, smashed the spirit tablet, and screamed in frenzied rage. I'll make you pay for your deception. I'll make you pay. You cursed my mother, knowing how hard she raised us siblings. You destroyed Mengyao, knowing our sibling bond was unbreakable, leaving me to suffer unbearable pain. You deserve to die. You deserve to die. He raged on, smashing things wildly. The servants dared not stop him. Any clan member who stepped forward was met with fruit and vegetables hurled at them. Jiang Mengyao cried out, trying to stop him, but Jiang Yuzhou swept her to the ground. Don't try to talk me out of this. Even if I die today, I won't let her off easy. The harder I smash, the better I feel. Let Zhang's mother die without peace. This is the grand reward from the son she cherished to the bone. Who knows what Zhang's mother feels now, seeing this scene from beyond the grave. Only when the funeral hall held nothing left to smash did Jiang Yuzhou collapse. Gasping for breath, Yi Jin concealed her deep-seated hatred as she approached Jiang Yuzhou, pulling him into her arms to comfort him. Had I known Sister Yuehua hated me so deeply that she'd destroy Sister Meng Yao just to get back at me, I should have died at my husband's home. This broken shell of a body shouldn't have dragged you down. Watching her flawless performance of twisting truth and lies. Just like in my past life. I couldn't help but silently give her a mental thumbs up. Such shamelessness. Refusing to see reason until the very end, even after 2 lifetimes. I could never hope to match her audacity. Just as Jiang Yuzhou rose, bloodshot eyes fixed on me, I tightened the hairpin in my sleeve. This time, he sought to kill me before everyone. Taking one of his eyes wouldn't be too much. But suddenly, my eldest uncle and third uncle, who had been receiving mourners in the front hall, stormed in. Furious. They flanked Jiang Yuzhou and each landed a punch on him. Ignoring social propriety, they lifted the coffin lid amid Jiang Yuzhou's fury and pressed his head directly above the coffin. Look! Who's putting on a show here? And who lies with eyes wide open? Not a single child by her side. Only her daughter-in-law kneeling vigil all night? What right do you have to throw this tantrum? What kind of person are you? Worthy of having the clan elders play along with your charade? Jiang Yuzhou froze as if struck by lightning, staring at the figure in the coffin, utterly unable to believe his eyes. Only when he finally reached out a trembling hand and cautiously touched his mother's deathly pale face did he touch the scar beneath her ear. Horrified, he collapsed to the ground. That scar was the mark left when he'd recklessly practiced swordsmanship as a child, slicing half his mother's face. Even a fake couldn't look so real. How? How could this be? How could Mother truly have died of illness? She didn't deceive me? Seeing Jiang Yuzhou collapse in a heap, a pitiful sight. Not a single soul felt sympathy for him. Instead, they watched coldly, hoping he'd suffer to death. Your mother came from a merchant family. Though she was short-sighted and somewhat profit-driven, she truly cherished you. Back then, knowing your efforts to aid disaster victims were nothing but lofty ideals without any real means. She used the debt of saving your life to force Yuehua into the household. She traded tens of thousands of silver taels from the Meng family for relief grain to help you escape danger. To spare your pitiful pride, she begged us to keep you in the dark all these years. Even when Yuehua was branded a social climber who broke up a loving couple, she swallowed her bitterness under your mother's lingering authority, never daring to utter a word. Yet you, with a clear conscience, accepted your mother's care and half of the Meng family's fortune, only to fix your heart on the Yi family's daughter. You even ignored your mother's critical illness. Do you think the Yi family's daughter is some noble soul? She married the second son of the Wan family without delay, knowing full well you would fail miserably in the disaster relief case. Then, seeing your rise, she couldn't bear to remain subordinate. She secretly wrote you letters confessing her feelings, only to be discovered by her husband. He beat her until she was crippled and threw her back to the capital. This affair became the talk of all Fanqing. Yet you pretended deaf and dumb, refusing to seek the truth. You loved her and pitied her, unaware that in her eyes, you were nothing but a plaything. If you wish to court death, go die now. Spare your family the disgrace and shame upon our clan. Uncle Jiang and third uncle were utterly disillusioned with Jiang Yuzhou, so they publicly denounced him without reservation, condemning him as utterly worthless. My eldest aunt sneered coldly. Just look at yourself. Who in the entire capital would give her a second glance? Except for you. Swarming around her like a stinking fly? A worthless piece of trash. Utterly hopeless, not even a fraction of your father's worth. No wonder Yuehua divorced you. Serves you right. Jiang Yuzhou's face drained of color as he turned to me with a complex expression. Yuehua. Zhou. They're lying. It's not like that. I was forced by my father. I never truly intended to remarry. All these years, my feelings for you have remained unchanged, steadfast and constant. I know Sister Yuehua hates me, which is why she blamed me for both aunt's death and my sister's peril. As the mistress of the Marquis' household, it's only natural she has the entire Marquis' household backing her. Unlike me, a discarded pawn with a ruined reputation and broken body. Who would even glance my way without your protection? Ajo? Someone like me deserves to rot in the mud, unworthy of a proper burial. Ye Jean sobbed until she could barely breathe, yet Jiang Yuzhou, who once cherished and shielded her, stared at her as if she were a stranger. My eldest uncle would rather give the Marquis title to me than his own son. How could he deceive me? Yi Jin's body trembled, but his startled cry echoed from outside the door. Minister, you brought news. The bandits had relented. They weren't the Yendang Cliff outlaws after all, but had been bribed. The hastily arriving servant's gaze swept over Yi Jin. As she instinctively shrank back, he declared with unmistakable clarity, they took silver from the Yi family's young miss. Their aim was to abduct the lady, ensuring she'd be discarded in the Marquis' choice between two, then left to be utterly humiliated in despair before being tossed back to the Marquis' residence, her reputation destroyed. Dying without being killed. All of this was corroborated by the testimony of the Yi family guards. Jiang Yuzhou abruptly turned his gaze to Yi Jin. Terrified, Yi Jin fell silent, only shaking her head frantically in panic. Her fear was so overwhelming that she tried to flee, but the Jiang family blocked the doorway. In my past life, when I appeared at the Yi residence, Yi Jin knew the person abducted by the bandits wasn't me. I had threatened to die to make her certain that the one taken could only be Jiang Mengyao, the one showered with the Jiang family's boundless affection. Unlike me, a helpless orphan. If Jiang Mengyao fell into the bandits' hands, the Jiang family would relentlessly pursue justice for her. Yi Jin, however, could not guarantee her own safety. Thus, feigning sorrow, she sent Jiang Yuzhou out instead, even ordering the mansion guards to escort him. And it was precisely that guard, the one who had colluded with the bandits, who, with a single word, accepted Jiang Yuzhou's money and immediately released him. Jiang Mengyao attributed her rescue to Yi Jin and that guard, while harboring nothing but hatred toward me. She even cursed me, calling my feigned gratitude and attempts to repay favors utterly disgusting. Thus, in this lifetime, I renounce any notion of gratitude. I seek only blood for blood. When Magistrate Yu led his troops to suppress the bandits, I had someone discreetly relay the news to him. The bandits' capture was kept quiet. After a night of brutal interrogation, the truth surfaced. When Yi Jin followed Jiang Yuzhou to the home mansion, intending to drive me to death by forcing me to witness my own misery, her guard had already been captured and imprisoned. By the time Jiang Yuzhou raged before me, his guards had confessed everything under brutal interrogation. With irrefutable evidence now in hand, Yi Jin faces nothing but eternal damnation. Sister Jean, I never imagined it would be you. Jiang Mengyao staggered out from behind the crowd. You were ill. And since my brother cherished you, I cherished you too. I even took thousands of taels of silver from Mengyao to hire doctors for you. Yet in the end, I was ruined by your own hand. How clever you are! Until just now, I still suspected Mengyao to make both my brother and me playthings in your hands, truly masterful. But why? You, a cripple confined to a wheelchair, have managed to turn the tables and bring ruin upon the entire Jiang family. I hear your leg ailment was cured last night. But this wheelchair cost me over 1,000 taels of silver. What a waste to discard it. I'll help you two stay together forever. As the words fell, Jiang Mingyao's hairpin struck Yi Jin's lower back, leaving him with nowhere to retreat. Stab after stab after stab. Amid Yi Jin's horrified screams, Jiang Mingyao's face became splattered with blood. Everyone present was frozen in shock. When Jiang Mengyao was pulled away, Yi Jin's entire back was a bloody mess, her waist covered in dense clusters of holes pierced by the hairpin. My aunt, who had some medical knowledge, merely lifted Yi Jin's back to look and gasped in horror. Her bones and tendons were perfectly fine. She was faking her disability? In that instant, Jiang Yuzhou looked at me as if struck by lightning. I had pointed at Yi Jin and told him more than once, if she truly had damaged her bones and tendons, she should have sought treatment from a highly respected imperial physician, not my husband Jiang Yuzhou's companionship. Why didn't she dare seek the physician? Because her feigned illness couldn't escape the physician's keen eye. Yet when Yi Jin tugged at his sleeve, tears streaming down her face, Jiang Yuzhou turned cold and scolded me for lacking compassion, even going so far as to slander Yi Jin's pain. As he devoted himself to caring for Yi Jin, his attention toward me grew increasingly cold. Even when I happened upon him and Yi Jin sharing tea on the street, he would berate me as hopelessly jealous when Yi Jin apologized in fear. My heart had long since died. Yet I knew the world was harsh for an orphaned girl. Without clan elders to intercede, I could not secure a divorce decree. But if cast aside, my entire dowry would become the Jiang family's possession. To protect my father's legacy and provide for the Ji family merchants, I had long ceased to yearn for love. Yet unexpectedly, Yi Jin, eager to usurp my place, sought to ruin my reputation and ultimately replace me. Though it was Jiang Mengyao who was abducted by bandits in my past life, Yi Jin still pretended that I had disrupted her focus, causing her treatment to be interrupted and leaving her permanently disabled. When I was under siege from all sides, she even staged a desperate leap into the river, using the Jiang family's hands to eliminate me completely. My dowry went to the Jiang family, and they all laughed in triumph. Only Jiang Yuzhou, devastated by the loss of his beloved, sank into a lifeless despair. Just as the entire Jiang family stood helpless before his desolation, Yi Jin seized the moment to return. She declared she had encountered a reclusive master who not only saved her life but also restored her legs to full function, making her indistinguishable from any ordinary person. If she could heal Jiang Yuzhou's heartache, even as a divorced woman, Jiang's mother accepted her. Amidst everyone's blessings, they married happily, raised children, and spent their remaining years happily living off my dowry. But me? Why should I be the stepping stone for their family reunion and perfect happiness? The next moment, my eldest aunt snorted disdainfully. What a pity! Now that Meng Yao has truly damaged his tendons and meridians, even divine healing is beyond reach. He'll be confined to a wheelchair for life. As soon as the eldest aunt finished speaking, Yi Jin screamed and collapsed unconscious. She thought she might escape this ordeal, but she had underestimated Jiang Yuzhou's madness. I said only one thing: faking unconsciousness won't help. You must repay what you owe my mother and Meng Yao. Jiang Yuzhou's icy hands clamped around Yi Jin's neck, followed by a hail of punches and kicks. Despite countless people rushing to pull them apart, they couldn't stop Yi Jin from coughing up blood in great gulps under the increasingly brutal assault. She didn't even get a chance to beg for mercy before collapsing like a dead dog, covered in blood and completely unconscious. Jiang Yuzhou trembled violently, his voice quivering uncontrollably. Drag this wretch who killed my mother and ruined my sister before Magistrate Yu. Let him mete out severe punishment. Once charged with murder for gain, even if the Yi family wished to protect her, they'd have to distance themselves to preserve their reputation and high official positions. Exile or execution awaited Yi Jin, but I won't let her die so easily. I'll spare no effort to ensure she suffers a fate worse than death. Yet that still isn't enough. I shifted my gaze to Jiang Mengyao, pleading through choked sobs. Your brother didn't mean to do this. Please don't blame him, okay? My words only served to strike a nerve. Though she laughed wildly, her face was streaked with tears. She roughly wiped them away with her sleeve, only to smear blood across her cheeks. Forgive? Brethren, does he even deserve my forgiveness? The wound on Jian's head still throbbed faintly. His aunt's memorial hall had been smashed to pieces by Jiang Yuzhou. He gritted his teeth in fury. He isn't even worthy of being called human. How could he possibly deserve your forgiveness? Amidst Jiang Yuzhou's pale, trembling form, Jiang Mengyao flashed a look that said, "See? Anyone can see that." Then spread her hands regretfully. Then she turned to Jian, her eyes brimming with deep emotion. Brethren, you wouldn't marry me now, would you? The Jiang family is ruined. I, Jiang Mengyao, am disgraced and no longer pure. This face alone is enough to repel anyone. I'm unworthy of you now, right? Though Jian had been Jiang Mingyao's childhood sweetheart, his affection for her was genuine. Yet as Jiang Mingyao said, the Ji family was a respectable household. They would never take a woman whose reputation was ruined and chastity lost as their wife. No matter how deep the bond, it could never overcome the weight of convention. In my past life, my desperate attempts to protect her reputation only made me seem overly dramatic, ultimately ruining her sister Ajin's life. Even when Jiang Yuzhou broke one of my legs, she stood by, relentlessly inciting him. Break both her legs. Let her know how hard Ajin's life has been. Let her taste others' suffering and learn how to be a decent person. In my past life, my life-saving favor was repaid with broken bones and a severed tongue. This lifetime, I dragged my feet, deliberately letting her hope of safe rescue fade away amidst the servants' repeated pleas and Jiang Yuzhou's indifference. Then I hinted to the hot-headed Jian to confront Jiang Yuzhou, letting Jiang Mingyao's reputation be utterly destroyed in his uncontrolled rage. Let's see if Jiang Mingyao truly possesses the magnanimity she claims to have. In my past life, when Yi Jin cornered me until I was utterly defenseless, she stood by clapping her hands and watching the spectacle unfold. You must cultivate tolerance. How could you let your elder brother despise you so? If I were you, I'd willingly relinquish the position of primary wife. After all, Sister Jean is already pitiful enough. You'd merely lose the status of a wife, while she has nothing left. It turned out that when the pain truly fell upon her, she too would lose her mind. She would even resort to hysterical revenge, clinging to the desperate hope of a favorable outcome. Jian lowered his gaze, his face etched with anguish. Yet he dared not answer Jiang Mingyao. Mingyao, your health comes first now. Other matters can wait. It was precisely this evasive attitude that pierced Jiang Mingyao's proud heart. She burst into a wild mix of tears and laughter, turning to the agonized Jiang Yuzhou. Your lordship, are you satisfied now? You drove my mother to her death and ruined me. The instant Jiang Yuzhou lifted his pain-filled gaze to meet hers, the hairpin that had pierced Yi Jin's heart now plunged into Jiang Mingyao's throat. Blood spattered 3 feet as she collapsed onto her mother's funeral altar. Her lips twisted in a bitter, defiant sneer. No! Jiang Yuzhou's roar echoed through the entire marquis's residence. Overnight, the Jiang family was shattered. Though Jiang Mingyao narrowly escaped death, she lost her virtue, her beauty, and her voice forever. But the truly gut-wrenching blow was yet to come. On the day Lady Jiang was laid to rest, my eldest uncle presented me with divorce papers. My aunt patted my hand. As a fellow woman, she pitied my fate as a mere vessel. With reddened eyes, she comforted me. Child, you've suffered so much. The Jiang family should never have bound you with the Marquis's life-saving favor. We were blind and heartless, betraying your trust. Beyond the Jiang estate, the sky is vast and the sea boundless. You should forget the grievances here and soar freely through the heavens. I tucked away her kindness, gathered my dowry, and walked out the gate of the Marquis's residence without looking back. Yue Hua. Jiang Yuzhou's hoarse voice sounded from behind me. I was blinded by my own stupidity before, and I wronged you. Would you consider staying with the Jiang family? Though I hold no marquis title, I will spare no effort to treat you well. Trust me this once. Will you? I rolled my eyes and walked away without looking back. I'd believe pigs could climb trees before trusting a reformed rogue. Had he remained a rogue to the end, I might have respected him. But turning back halfway? That's utterly disgusting. I bought a grand courtyard in the southern part of the city, managing the Meng family's estate. Servants swarm around me, and I live in luxury. And all of this was meticulously planned and plotted by me. Had the Jiang family not seen through Jiang Yuzhou's cold-heartedness and madness during the death of their mother? Jiang. That single divorce decree alone would have trapped me for the rest of my life within the Jiang household. My rebirth into the light wasn't due to Jiang Yuzhou's mercy, but my own ruthless cunning and meticulous planning. Yet it wasn't enough. I deliberately spread rumors that Jiang Yuzhou stole his mother's life-saving medicine to give to Yi Jin, leaving her without treatment when her illness struck and causing her sudden death. The Jiang family was utterly disillusioned with Jiang Yuzhou. His eldest uncle knelt before the emperor himself, petitioning to denounce Jiang Yuzhou's inhumanity, disloyalty, and utter lack of compassion. He pleaded with His Majesty to revoke the Marquis title and expel Jiang Yuzhou from the Marquis mansion. Jiang Yuzhou took his sister, her voice and beauty ruined, her virtue tarnished, to a small courtyard provided by their uncle Jiang. They eked out a living selling calligraphy and paintings. Once, while he and the veiled Jiang Mengyao were setting up their stall on the street, they happened upon me, seated in my ornate palanquin. I locked eyes with the emaciated pair, who looked like beggars. Their faces lit up, hoping I might show some mercy for old time's sake. But I hastily averted my gaze, and my maid bellowed, "Can't you see? How dare you filthy wretches beg for charity in the name of loyalty? Don't you fear soiling my mistress's eyes?" She shot the siblings a fierce glare, as they cringed in shame, wishing they could vanish into the earth. She spat, "You call yourselves brother and sister? You're worthless, despised by all, yet you dare beg like others? Have you no shame?" By the time others arrived, only a wheelchair by the river and a suicide note accusing me remained. The very people they once scorned, looked down upon, and belittled now stood above them. With an air of supreme superiority, they crushed their spirits, ensuring they could never rise again, for the rest of their lives. Such humiliation would come not only from me, but from every powerful figure in the capital who had eyes to see. As for Jiang Mengyao, she could never forgive Jiang Yuzhou. Had it not been for Jiang Yuzhou's indifference and poor judgment, the Jiang family would never have reached this point, nor would she have met such an end. Jian remarried. Amidst the Ji family's resentment toward the Jiang family, he offered Jiang Mengyao no aid. Even when holding his new bride, he brushed past Jiang Mengyao with trepidation, fearing she might harm his wife out of love turned to hatred. He clutched her tightly to his side, trembling with apprehension. Jiang Mengyao seethed with hatred. Day and night, her rage consumed her until she pawned her last bracelet to buy Yi Jin's fate as a human pig. Jiang Yuzhou, she spared not. On a stormy night, Jiang Mengyao set fire to their home, determined to end their miserable lives together in utter despair. But alas, though both were burned beyond recognition, I deliberately saved them. Want to die? I would make them suffer unbearably, leaving them to scrape out a miserable existence, scarred and broken, beggars until their dying day. Later, I encountered Yi Jin in a small town in Lingnan. Her limbs were gone, reduced to a beast-like state. Locked in a cage, she fought dogs and pigs for scraps. When I called her name, she seemed deaf to my voice. Her only concern was snatching another mouthful of swill from the pigs. I cared little for truth or falsehood, her misery was enough. As for me, I took the Meng family fortune and traveled far and wide, trading north and south, amassing untold wealth. Yet in the dead of night, a fire always burned within my heart. Invisible, intangible, yet it consumed me, robbing me of sleep and appetite. Until one day, the 9th princess, who had carved a bloody path through the frontier, appeared disguised as a man in my tea house. A smile curved her lips as she raised her cup to me. We share the same origins, wealth, and power. We should seize the moment and make our move. Shall we seize the chance to become marquises and ministers, carving a realm for the women who yearn beyond the palace walls? A blaze erupted within me, a vast hope igniting in my eyes. Yes. The end.